Alright everybody, time for the fourth and final part. We did the remaining 11 red cards. Let's take a look. So first we have Infuriate, which is basically not quite so giant growth. But yeah, for red, pretty good. We had the time-shifted giant growth in the past. This is just a properly balanced giant growth for red, basically, because yeah, in red you don't usually get quite as many stats for the same cost. So here we get +3, +2 for 1. But yeah, this is pretty great and limited and could even be like borderline relevant for constructed. But since giant growth is usually not very relevant in constructed, this is unlikely to be much better. But these kind of effects have had the history of being more appealing in red than in green and constructed. Think of Titan Strength, for example. And here we get +3, +2 instead of Trample and Scry, which is kind of a close trade-off, I would say. And then we have a Keldon Radar reprint, still a very solid limited 4-drop, I would say. 4-cost 4/3 is kind of like the going rate these days, but getting to cycle through a bad card or land seems a nice bonus, so pretty decent. I think usually in limited as far as 4-drops in common go. Then we have another good, probably better 4-drop in Lavakin Brawler, basically on offense, a 3/4 on its own. And yeah, if you have any other elemental, it's already a 4/4. So if you're looking more to attack than block, this is pretty great. Can be better than the usual like 4-cost 4/4s, which are already very good. So this is like the premium common red 4-drop, I would say. Then we have Maniacal Rage, which is pretty nice, especially in aggressive decks, because it doubles as removal and as buff to your creatures. Stuff like Fencing Ace comes to mind, and Boros, or just Flyers. So a pretty nice and flexible card. It was quite good in the last set that it was in Fields of Ravnica, and I would guess it's similarly good here. Then we have Pack Mastiff, 2-cost 2/2, nothing very exciting. But yeah, for 2 you can make it grow, which is nice. It's a fine 2-drop, nothing exciting, but it does the job. Then we have Reckless Airstrike. More often than not, only a sideboard card, but especially in best of 3 draft, this seems like a great sideboard option. Very flexible, very efficient. The fact that it's a sorcery instead of an instant holds it back a bit, but it's still very strong. So I'm happy to even have more than one of these in my sideboard in limited, and you can pick them up pretty late. Then we have Reduced to Ashes, 5 mana, deal 5 damage to a creature, sorcery. It exiles it, which is a nice bonus, so in limited, a serviceable removal, nothing exciting, but very solid, especially for a Coreset format. Then we have Ripscale Predator, an uncommon downgrade to common, 6-cost, 6/5 ManuS, very solid for a 6-drop. 6-drops, especially in red, aren't that great usually, because you're going to be more aggressive more often than not. But if your deck wants a 6-drop, this seems like a pretty solid one for common. Here is Scorch Spitter that I talked about earlier, with Chandru Spitfire among others. So yeah, if your deck is aggressive enough or has cards like Spitfire, this seems pretty solid. Otherwise, obviously 1-cost 1/1s are pretty weak, but if you're in the market for stuff like Inspired Charge, this goes way up together with Spitfire. So yeah, in the right deck, playable, otherwise chaff, I would say. In constructed, probably a bit too weak, but not completely out of the consideration maybe for a mono red aggro deck going forward, we will see. Especially because it's an elemental too. Then we have Shock. Limited staple, as it always is, and in this format there's a fair share of like good 2 toughness stuff, like a bunch of flyers and so on. So yeah, Shock seems about as good as most of the time in this set. Not exceptional probably, but pretty good. Especially in a world where we have a lot of like 3-cost 3/2s and 2/2s and stuff that die to Shock. Yeah, Shock is just premium removal. And last but not least, we have Tectonic Rift, now at common. Well, land destruction, not something you want to main deck in limited, but if your deck is very aggressive, you might be in the market for one of these as like a pseudo finisher to falter their team and get in for the kill. Otherwise, it's probably an okay sideboard card in some decks, in limited. And that's about it. This concludes the review of the red cards. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Let me know in the comments what you think about the cards and the format and so on. Like the format of the review. Aside from the fact that I'm pretty late this time and I'll try to better myself for the next set. And yeah, as usual, if you enjoy it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, turn on the notification icon to not miss out on more. If you want to further support me, please consider whitelisting YouTube on your ad block and check the description below for stuff like Patreon and other forms of support. That would really help a lot. That's it again for this time. I'm your host ManuS. I thank you for watching and I'll see you next time with the green cards. Bye!